Today we'll discuss the cube root of unity. Cube root of unity. What is the cube root of unity? 1 omega square are called cube root of unity. This is omega. And one more thing, two concepts are there here. 1 plus omega square equal to 0. 1 plus omega square equal to 0. And omega cube equal to 1. Omega cube equal to 1. So we'll discuss based on this concept. And one more thing, 1 plus omega square equal to 0. This means 1 plus omega equal to minus omega square, or 1 plus omega square equal to minus omega, or omega plus omega square equal to minus 1. These the things we have to remember. These two things we are using. This one and omega cube equal to 1. Let's start the problems. So problem number 1, omega cube plus omega square minus omega whole cube equal to minus 8. We have to show. So left hand side, we'll take left hand side, omega cube plus omega square minus omega whole to the power of 3. Omega cube is 1. So 1 plus omega square minus omega whole cube. 1 plus omega square is how much? From here, 1 plus omega square is minus omega. So I am writing minus omega cube. So minus omega is minus 2 omega whole cube. So I am separating minus 2 cube into omega cube. This is the form. From laws of indices, please remember AB whole to the power of m is A to the power of m, B to the power of m. So 2 to the power of 8 is minus 8. Omega cube is 1. So answer is minus 8, which is our right hand side. Now let's go for the second problem. What it says, 1 minus omega plus omega square whole to the power of 6 plus 1 minus omega square plus omega whole to the power of 6 equal to 128 we have to prove. So left hand side, this is left hand side 1 plus 1 minus omega, this is minus 1 minus omega. So 1 plus omega square, I am writing this 2 plus and minus omega whole to the power of 6, and this is 1 plus omega minus omega square whole to the power of 6. So 1 plus omega square is minus omega. This is already this minus omega is. So 1 plus omega is minus omega square, minus omega whole to the power. So minus omega is minus 2 omega to the power of 6. This is minus 2 square omega to the power of 6. So minus 2 to the power of 6, if I take common, from here I am left with omega to the power of 6, excuse me, plus omega to the power of 6 times 2 times 6 is 12. Now this can be written as 2 to the power of 6 is 64. Omega to the power of 6 is omega cube into omega cube. Omega power of 3 whole to the power of 4. So 6. Omega cube is 1. This is 1. So 1. Omega cube is 1. 1 to the power of 4 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So 2 into 6 is 128, which is our right hand side. Okay, let's go next. Now let's go for the problem number 3. Same concept. Problem number 3. The problem number 3 is 1 minus omega plus omega square to the power of 7. 1 plus omega minus omega square to the power of 7. How? Equal to again 128. So left hand side, because we have to prove, we have to take left hand side 1 minus 1 plus omega square minus omega to the power of 7. This I am writing these two one first. Second, 1 plus omega minus omega square to the power of 7. 1 plus omega square is minus omega. Already this minus omega is there. 1 plus omega is 1 plus omega is minus omega square minus omega to the power of 7. So minus omega is minus 2 omega to the power of 6, 7. This is minus 2 omega to the power of 7. So here minus 2, here minus 2 to the power of 7. Take common, minus 2 to the power of 7. So we are left with omega to the power of 7 plus omega square to the power of 7. Now 2 to minus it is minus 128. Omega to the power of 7 is omega cube square into omega cube into 4 into omega square. 12, you see, 2 sevens are 14. So 3 fours are 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. Omega cube is, why we are doing this? Because we know omega cube equal to 1. So minus 128, omega cube is 1. So 1 into omega cube is 1. 1 to the power of 4 is 1, omega square. So minus 128 omega plus omega square. Omega plus omega square is what? From this, please remember this one. 1 plus omega square equal to 0. So omega plus omega square equal to minus 1. So minus 128 into minus 1 is plus 128, which is our right hand side. This is problem number 3. One more problem number we will discuss. A into B, A into omega, B into omega square, A into omega square, B into omega, which is equal to A cube plus B cube. Again, take the left hand side as it is, A plus B, A plus B, A into omega, B omega square, A omega square, B omega. So A plus B, I am not disturbing A plus B as it is. Now these two, A omega into this thing first, then this into this thing. I will take like this. AW into AW square plus B omega plus BW square, omega square, sorry, not W, omega square, omega square plus B omega. So now this is A plus B as it is. Now A into A is A square, omega into omega square is omega cube plus AB omega square, omega square, omega square plus AB omega to the power of 4 plus B square omega cube. Now already AB is there, A plus B. A square omega cube is 1. So A square into 1 is A square. Now this AB, I am taking AB common, this part. AB common, omega square. Omega to the power of 4 is omega. Omega cube into omega. You see this one. Omega to the power of 4. Omega to the power of 4 is omega cube into omega. Omega cube is 1 into omega. 1 omega to the power of 4 is omega. So I have written this. Plus this part is over. Plus B square omega cube is 1. So I am not writing 1. B square into 1 is B. So this is A plus B, A square plus AB, A square plus AB. Omega square plus omega square plus omega is minus 1. minus 1 plus b square. So this is a plus b into a square minus ab plus b square, which is equal to a cube plus b cube, which is our right hand side. Okay, this is the problem number 4. We are doing cube root of unity 1. Cube root of unity, problem number 4. Again, one more problem. We'll go to the problem number 5. Same concept, 1 omega omega square. So problem number 5, what it says, a plus b square plus a omega square plus 2b omega whole square plus a omega plus 2b omega square whole square equal to 12ab, equal to 12ab. So our left hand side a plus 2b square plus a omega square 2b omega square plus a omega 2b omega square whole square. Now you see we have to expand. That's it. Expand and simplify. A plus b whole square formula. So a square b square means 4b square plus 2ab. 2 formula 2 and these 2 to the 4ab. We got this thing. Now again a plus b whole square formula. So a square omega square is omega to the power of 4 plus b square 4b square omega square plus 2ab. Already 2 is there, that 2. So 2 to the 4. 4 or ab. A, b, omega. This is omega square, this is omega cube plus this form, this expansion I am doing. Let me change the color. This expansion I am doing, this next expansion. So a square omega square plus 2 to the 4 b square omega to the power of 4 plus 2ab. 2ab means already 2 is there. So 4ab omega is there, omega square. So omega cube. Now the next one. So a square 4b square 4ab, this expansion. Now this expansion. So a omega to the power of 4 is omega cube. Omega cube into omega. So omega. A square omega plus 4b square. This is omega square. As it is, we will keep plus 4ab omega cube. Omega cube is 1. Up to here I am here. Now this part. A square omega square plus 4b square. Omega to the power of 4 is omega cube into omega is omega. So this is omega plus 4ab. Omega cube is 1. Now see here. A square 4b square 4ab 4ab. Now I want to take a square common. I want to take a square common. You see, this a square common I am taking. So a square omega plus omega square. Now I want to take b square common. 4b square. This 4b square, 4b square. So 4b square omega square plus omega. Omega square plus omega. This AB we have done. This AB. So AB. So 8AB. 8AB. So now this equal to, no, this part. This one. Do you remember? 1 plus omega square equal to 0. So omega plus omega square is minus. Omega plus omega square is minus 1. So this is a square 4b square 4ab plus omega square. Omega plus omega square is minus 1. 4b square. Omega square plus omega is again minus 1. And this is 8ab. 8ab. See here, minus a square plus a square getting cancelled. This b square getting 4ab. This 8ab is 12ab, which is equal to our right hand side. Okay, that's it. Very easy, just expanding, and two things we are doing. Omega cube equal to 1, this property, and this property we are using and solving the problem. One more time, 1 plus omega whole cube 1 plus omega square whole cube equal to minus 2. So take our left hand side 1 plus omega whole cube 1 plus whole cube whole square, sorry, this is square. So 1 plus omega is 1 plus omega. 1 plus omega is minus omega square. 1 plus omega square is minus omega whole cube. There you see a to the power of m whole to the power of n can be written as a to the power of m n whole to the power of n. Interchange the powers. We can do by laws of indices. So this can be written as omega cube omega square minus 1 cube outside. This is minus 1 cube outside omega cube. Omega cube is 1. This is 1. So this is minus 1 minus 1. Minus 1 minus 1 is minus 2, which is our right hand side. Okay, this is the problem. One more problem we will go. One more problem of this type. One more problem of this type. 1 omega 1 minus omega square 1 minus omega 1 minus omega is equal to 9. So our left hand side, you see 1 minus omega 1 minus omega 2 times is there. So we are writing 1 minus omega square. And these are 2 times we are writing square. So now 1 minus omega 1 minus omega square. And whole square if you take outside, common. You see a to the power of n, b to the power of n can be written as ab whole to the power of n. So this property I am using here. So 1 will go with 1. Multiplying, just expansion. 1 into 1 is 1. 1 into omega square is minus omega square. 1 into minus omega into 1 is minus omega. Minus into minus plus. Omega into omega square is omega cube. Whole square as it is outside. So this is omega cube is 1. So 1 plus 1. This omega cube is 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Minus if you take common, omega plus omega square. Omega plus omega square is minus 1. So minus into minus plus. So 2 plus 3 is 3. Square is there, square is there, square is there. So 3 square is 9, which is our right hand side. One more problem of this type. So the problem is 2 minus omega square, 2 minus omega to the power of 10, 2 minus omega to the power of 11 equal to 49. You see omega cube equal to 1. Accordingly, we will do omega to the power of 10 can be written as omega cube whole cube into omega. And omega to the power of 11 can be written as omega into omega square. So now left hand side. So 2 minus omega, 2 minus omega square, 2 minus omega to the power of 10 can be written as omega to the power of 3, 3 3 is a 9, 10. Omega cube is 1. So 1 cube is 1. So it is just omega. 2 minus omega to the power of 11 is same as omega square. This one, omega power to the power of 10 is omega. This means omega to the power of 11 is omega square. So 2 minus omega square. Now the things are same. So 2 minus omega whole square, 2 minus omega square whole square. 2 minus omega square whole square. So what I am doing, 2 minus omega, 2 minus omega square. Now square parts. Now expansion. 2 into 2 is 4. 2 into minus omega square. 2 into this thing is minus 2 omega. Minus into minus plus. Omega square into omega is omega cube. Omega cube is 1. So this is 4. 4 plus this one. 4 plus 1 is 5. Minus 2 if you take common, omega plus omega square. Omega plus omega square is omega plus omega square is minus 1. So minus, so this is 5 minus plus 2, 7. 7 square is 49, which is our right hand side. So let's go next problem. 49. Let's go one more problem. One more problem of different type, division type. 1 by 2 omega, 1 by 1 by 2 plus omega plus 1 by 2 plus 2 omega equal to 1 by 1 omega. So now left hand side we have to take 1 by 2 plus omega plus 1 by 2 omega. Take the LCM. Take the LCM 2 plus omega, 1 plus 2 omega. So this getting cancelled. So we are left with 1 plus 2 omega. 1 plus 2 omega get cancelled. So 2 plus omega. So which is equal to 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 omega plus omega is 3 omega. Now multiplying this, 2 into 1 is 2. 2 to the 4. 4 omega. Omega into 1 is omega. 2 into omega is omega square. This thing 3 I am taking common, 1 plus omega. So this thing 2 plus 4 omega plus omega is 5 omega plus 2 omega square. You see we know 1 plus omega square equal to 0. So which means 1 plus omega square equal to minus omega. So and 1 plus omega equal to minus omega square. So 3 into 1 plus omega is minus omega square divided by 2 if you take common, 1 plus omega square plus 5 omega. 1 plus omega square is, this is the rough work, please. It doesn't come in the problem. So I am making a round. So minus 3 omega square divided by, so 1 plus omega square is minus omega. So minus 2 omega plus 5 omega. So this is 3 minus 3 omega square by 3 omega. 3, 3 getting cancel, omega the power getting cancel. So minus omega is left. But we want 1 by 1 plus omega. So and multiplying, dividing and multiply by 1 plus omega. So this is 1 plus omega. Omega into 1 is omega. Minus I am keeping outside. Or to keep it like that. Minus omega. Omega plus omega square. Omega plus omega square is omega. Omega plus omega square is minus 1. So already minus is there plus. So 1 by 1 plus omega, which is our right hand side. Which is our right hand side. So one more problem. See the type. Omega type. One more problem. Prove that x square plus 4x plus 7 equal to 0. Where x equal to omega minus omega square minus 2. This we have to do. So what we have, what he has given x equal to omega minus omega square minus 2. I am writing plus 2 both the side. Minus 2 plus 2 getting cancelled. So x plus 2 equal to omega minus omega square. Now what I am doing is squaring both the sides. So x plus 2 square equal to omega minus omega square whole square. So a plus b whole square. A square plus b square plus 2ab. A minus b whole square. So omega square plus a square. Omega to the power is 4 minus 2 omega cube. Minus 2 omega cube. Omega cube is 1. So this is x square plus 4x plus 4 equal to omega cube is 1. So I am writing, you see, omega cube is 1. Omega to the power of 4 is omega cube into omega, that is omega only. So this is omega square plus omega minus 2. Minus 2 is there. So now omega plus omega square is minus 1. This one. 1 plus omega square equal to 0. So omega plus omega square equal to minus 1. So x square plus 4x plus 4 equal to minus 1 minus 2. Minus 1 minus 2. So this is x square plus 4x plus 4 equal to minus 3. Adding plus 3 both the sides. Why we are doing? Because x square plus 4x plus 7 equal to 0. We want to prove this thing. That's it. Very easy and simple. Just expanding and simplifying. Just the new thing for us is only omega. Everything is we have done in earlier classes. So the next problem, a plus b omega plus c omega square divided by c plus a omega plus b omega square plus a plus b omega c omega square divided by b plus c omega a omega square equal to minus 1 we have to prove. So our left hand side is this one. A, what I am doing? A into 1 I am doing plus b into omega into 1 plus c omega square as it is. C omega square as it is divided by, I am not doing anything to the denominator. A omega plus b omega square as it is. In the numerator again what I am doing? A into 1, b into omega into 1, c into omega. Can I do that? A into any number is that number only. So there is no confusion or no nothing. So this one. So the next thing what I am doing, for 1 I am writing omega cube. Okay. For 1 I am writing omega cube. So this this becomes this becomes a omega cube plus b omega to the power of 4 c omega square divided by c a omega b omega square plus a omega cube b omega to the power of 4 plus c omega square divided by b plus c omega plus a omega square. Here what we are doing? We are doing omega square common. So aw plus b omega square plus c divided by aw b omega square c. Getting cancelled, we are left with omega square. And here we are taking omega common. So a omega square b omega cube is 1. So b plus c omega cube is 1 by b cw aw. They getting cancelled. So plus omega. Omega square plus omega square is minus 1, which is our right hand side. So we have done all the problems concerning around 11, 10, 11 problems concerning omega. So only two concepts, 1 plus omega square equal to 0 and omega cube equal to 1. This is the concept and it is written as omega. So omega cube equal to 1. And this from this the color is what we are getting. 1 plus omega square equal to 0. So 1 plus omega is minus omega square. 1 plus omega square equal to minus omega. Omega plus omega square equal to minus. These are the things. So it is very easy and you can see and learn method. Very easy. I am going step by step. So if you like my work, please subscribe my channel and share with your friends. And in the comments, please let me know which lesson, which topic you want me to go in detail with the basics. This is show your work problems. If you want entrance problem, we have to go by the shortcut method. This is the long method. Okay. Please, thank you for watching.